but that is where a lot of those passive third-party fights end. And now we get ourselves to Erangel, the bread and butter of all of these teams, the grassy pastures.
Oh yeah, good times on the grassy pastures. Though, are we going to see the Rozhok fight continue? Are we going to have Season 2 of Madballs versus GK Esports in Rozhok? I hope not, but I have learnt over the years to give up hope when it comes to teams stopping from hot-dropping one another. They tend to do it for little reason, but we'll see.
Well, honestly, if it does continue here, I think Madballs has a little bit of a window into how GK is playing it out, because they are in the two or three of those Erangels were making a wide wrap onto the north of Rozhok and trying to get the high ground away, but they kept having Nox hit them. I think if you're Madballs, you could try and punish that even harder if they were going to try and do it again. But we'll see. We will see if that actually does come to fruition.
Yeah, and we saw Zerish play multiple off angles, so it could work out, though. Yeah, GQ in the mix of it, going for a Sunken City Rozhok split, it seems like right now, which could be also punished by Madballs as they tend to drop a little bit more closely packed. Not sure that's going to work out, though Gladiators going back to their usual Northern George Pop position instead of Primorsk, which I did enjoy, and it's going to be Sovnovka military base for our first Erangel. There's a small chance it could go to mainland, but I'm not really expecting it.
Let's call it small, yeah. For these teams that were looking to kind of drop near that western bridge, there might be an opportunity here just to exploit this circle nice and quickly and then just get on over there nice and fast with some vehicles and get looted up and good to go. But we can see plenty of people in Rozhok and unfortunately a potential run over, but no, we'll get picked up. Good job as Falcons save their guy.
Yeah, the Uber strat works out. Pick him up and out of the fields they go. Teak and Six are going to be up there.
GK's already taken damage a little bit in Rozhok, so I imagine the fight's going to persist.
GK's there. They're just hidden in the madness. But yeah, GK are still there. Ragnar and Satan in the thick of it. But they are playing a little bit more closely packed, which is going to be able to overwhelm him, in this case, Frozen. Ex-God, a new addition to his full name, which, fair enough, okay, if you want for that for your ego, that's cool.
I'm not the greatest fan of some of these loadouts. I saw a double-barrel shotgun and an SLR. And now I'm seeing a machete and an SK-12. So a little bit limited. There it is, that gun. Anyway.
Just that gun?
It's the Phantom gun. Anyway, yeah, we've got ourselves as trying to move on through here and look to try and push away. At least for the most part, they have one side of the road each. That will slow things down a little bit. That is a slight adaptation. Madballs were dropping north side of the road, and then it was becoming a stalemate that way. So this causes a little bit of a barrier to the fight to even continue for the most part.
Yeah, if I were Madballs, just leave it. I mean, clearly they want to take this fight. They sent 2 players north of the road, and they're just slowly trying to get closer to GK. It seems Demuerte chasing it down. Tapok gets the headshot onto King. What is happening over here? Falcons just can't escape the wrath of Demuerte. And they want 6-2. They want 2 eliminations here. They're not letting him get away with it.
Chase him down. Chase him down. And unfortunately there, it's going to be Punching King who's going to be the victim, getting into another buggy. And 6 will have to get away. So for the most part, yeah, a true salvage mission on the way here for 6. That's brutal.
You were mentioning actually earlier, Kalaris, right? That teams here could very easily rotate fast into the Sovnovka Island, which some teams have done, like next Riyadh. GQ already left the area of Sunken City really quickly, and Regnum Kaya, Enigma Galaxy seem like want to achieve a similar pathway onto the island.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on that. That's good, because you know it's going to normally end over there. But I'm seeing there's so many teams north right now. I feel like the bridges are going to be congested as we approach the end of Phase 2.
Yeah, and long-form botations can happen, especially on the eastern side. But let's take a look back here and see what was going on as Teak was trying to, I guess... Oh, hey, he flipped. I thought he was going to go vehicle swap. Oh, he was going to vehicle swap. Never mind.
He didn't land it.
He was having some fun.
Yeah, good times. Didn't land it, though.
Didn't land.
Didn't land it, though. A little bit angry. But yeah, you mentioned botations could be happening. There's a few that could spawn towards Kameshki, so you could see potentially Vision Esport go for one. Even Lipovka, if you just are not quite lucky on the boat spawns. RTG and Zaki also. Which really, Zaki, I mean, they really just don't want to take a fight. We're talking about taking a fight here. Nexus. Going to be a little bit of a mingle here with Nexus Gaming. A little bit of back and forth. No limbs just yet. Yeah,
the reinforcements from Nexus are on the way as well. And if you're Vision in that situation with your team so far away, I'm not sure whether or not taking those shots is the most wise thing to get that going. So he is going to bail. Quite fortunate, is Leif here to not be down.
Make it look like you're 14.
Yeah.
I mean, we see some players do that. Normally in the late game when you're solo in a building, not like at the very start of a game. That's a bit early to go for a play like that. But yeah, Leif just go back a little bit closer to Volt and the rest of Vision. The blue zone is slowly but surely going to be engulfing a few teams like Vision and RTG. So they're going to have to be on the move. Eventually, see how that's going to go. While, unfortunately, Rozhok fight is still going on. And Mad Bulls just don't want to give it up, Kalash. They just sent players on the other side, multiple angles, trying to lock in the rest of GK, deny rotations. I still don't see the long-term worth of it. I feel like this hurts you way more than you'd like, because down to 3 players at this point, your odds of a chicken dinner are just down the hill.
As I say, I said it on the desk yesterday, usually constant hot drops like this are plays for future tournaments. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but that's generally what it's like. Ragnar, unfortunately, will get caught instantly by Flyke, and that's good for him, for Mad Bulls, to just continue in a situation where sometimes they were losing people in this hot drop, but now they're kind of dominating this one. But yeah, usually it is for future scenarios.
Well, actually, it could make sense because, I mean, right after this tournament ends, you have pretty much a week window and PMPL Arabia begins.
Correct.
So GK are like, okay, we want to start prepping for PMPL Arabia here into PMRC. Weird moment to do it, but hey, why the hell not? And Fleek is just so good angle in that little sniper tower.
I mean, you also never know what happens in terms of the future, right? Like, you don't know if another PMRC comes around, it's your 2 regions clashing, and you want to make sure that you're the one that's asserted dominance in the pre-situations, or you go to an international like PMGC, and it is suddenly these 2 teams here that are going to be challenging each other. So again, there's a lot of things that these players might have going through their heads regarding that. I could be totally wrong regarding these 2 teams in particular. I've just seen that be a common trend in the past.
Or maybe a team is just going to be like, we know this squad drops here. They're just very stubborn. I can't be bothered. Just can't be bothered to hot drop. Just give up instantly. Yeah, I've had enough talking about this. I want to talk about other stuff that's been happening around the map. And mainly, Gladiators initiated their rotation. They're going to make it over to the Western Bridge. Slowly but surely going to be encroaching onto Sundufka Island. And then with Galaxy going for the swim across. So more and more teams are going to be rocking up on that good old island. As Phase 1 slowly going to be reaching the end, but the push onto Guyth is going to be happening. Guyth and Hope are going to be locked in this building. No escape is available.
They've completely identified where the remaining players are. They're in this building. How are we going to push it? They're still using some of the utility. It looks like GK, unfortunately, really has none. So that's going to cause them a lot of problems. But you're just going to hold this angle behind the box. It's hard to spot from third-person perspective.
Actually interesting. Hope is playing. Mark was playing yesterday, so a little bit of a roster swap happening for GK.
Oh. Sees the gun on his back there, around that box, so knows exactly where he is. Will have to come out of there, has the DBS in hand, as Hope is trying to hold off that top side. They just want to try and get Zerish, but he's in a bit of a vulnerable spot, so they're going to have to finish the fight first. Good pre-fire.
Oh, he's got a shotgun too.
Oh, no, what did he call it?
With the DBS, confirms it away.
Crawl in maybe for some information, but you will lose out that situation, as now an attempt forwards to try and dislodge Hope up at the top.
Still play around the utility. He still has one final nade here for Flicker. Oh, misses the window. That's unfortunate. That could have been massive. He was right on the other side of that window. Molly to buy a little bit of extra time for GK. The blue zone is going to be engulfing them, so a little bit of extra time factor added to the equation. You need to start thinking of how are you going to end this fight, end this 2v2. They got the DBS and stuff. They could just jump over and overwhelm Tulika because he is split a little bit further away from his teammate.
Yeah, I think they're anticipating and hearing that movement and trying to use that, and that's actually not a bad player here from Fleekits to be able to get that initial trade, and Hope will end up going down as well. So Mad Bulls, yes, will win out and are firing shots into the bodies.
They won the hot drop.
Leave our place.
But, winning the game is going to be a different kind of ordeal for Mad Bulls, I feel it's fair to say. Though Phase 2, we didn't quite see it pop on the feed, but it went hard south. This is a really big hard shift. A lot of water still in play, so some rotations did come out, mainly the ones of Falcons. They do make it over there. But the bridges are going to be congested over to the east. I'm looking at that one. You have Vision, you have Nexus Gaming, you have Brute Force, Fireflux. That fight, if you can get away from it right now, Fireflux could just go hard west. I would recommend it, because this is going to be a bit messy to get out alive of.
Yeah, there's some really good compounds you can try and take in a circle like this as well. I can't quite see who's in that position on the map yet, so once we scroll in, I'll be able to talk about that a little bit more. But I'm thinking about high ground compounds that are on that south coast, to a little bit to the west side. If I explain it like that, I'm pretty sure you know which ones I'm on about, Max. Yeah. But and then as all these teams are going to slowly get in there, look who's furthest away. Apart from Mad Bulls, it's Gangsters.
Oh no.
Surprise.
Now, Gladiators are trying to just gatekeep teams trying to cross late. They're looking at all the teams crossing from Primorsk, Ferry Pier. They're holding on that cliffside, well, that coast side, should I say. It's a bit of both. And maybe trying to get himself some extra eliminations on the teams, mainly RTG. So the blue zone, is that going to get Rio? Seems like it was going to get the knock, but they make it over with a jet ski. Speed over to Sovnovka. Yes.
This is a big wraparound, though, if they're going to make this work. Because if Gladiator still actually does have angles on this, they could make that blow up very quickly. And there's no rocks of cover to be able to kind of retreat back behind here on the little jet ski over there. So still knocks on the bridge, though.
I feel like it's way too late to do a botation now. And so many teams want to do it because the coast is so heavily in play. I mean, 50% pretty much of this game is now water, so teams are going to be holding that cliff. And a botation, you're going to have 2, 3, 4 teams possibly taking shots at your location. It's too late to do it here, I'd say.
Even if you make a botation work now, you get stuck on the cliff edge.
Yeah.
And you're like trying to do some rock climbing, some bouldering. John likes bouldering. And then, you know, it's not exactly easy because you're not building up that strength against the teams above you. They're going to the gym, they're working out, they're doing all right, and they're firing down on you and just taking you out. Yeah, exactly. Build different.
Also very nadeable if you make it to the cliff, so not the best. And he still goes to the cliffside again. I mean, this is great for Excuse Me. If they just regroup, recenter their position, they could be in a good position. I enjoyed their rotation last game. It seemed like they are definitely a lot faster throughout this second day of PMRC, but Nigma Galaxy on the cliff. Ralph is knocked, the res will come out, but teams are slowly but surely going to initiate fights.
So technically speaking, this compound of Excuse Me was the one that I was talking about before, but then also Nigma Galaxy can exist in these cliffs very nicely. But here's Falcons after the botate. This is exactly what we were talking about. Again, with this cliff in play the way it is, yeah, cool, you were able to botate, but can you even get up? Can you even get to placement points? Never mind some eliminations on the board.
Yeah, and the only way you can actually make is if you make it to the beaches a little bit further right on your screen, and that's held down by Lord and Freak. You just can't make it up this cliffside position unless you're John Allen and really good at bouldering. It's not going to work out.
He's like Spider-Man. You've seen his dangly arms, just like able to go. It's crazy. But anyway, we've got ourselves Coops holding on. Still got the DBS in hand. Sees Ralph is about to move on away potentially with a buggy, but doesn't look like it. I mean, you can hold this position for quite a long time as Nigma Galaxy, because really, there's not a whole lot of vulnerability to it from other angles on the battleground. Yeah,
and most importantly, they kept their cars in a small little dip on the cliff, which if they have to crash onto Excuse Me's compound later on, which, not going to lie, chances of that happening are really high, that's going to make it so much easier. I feel like they had 2 cars, which is good if you just want to surprise them a little bit more. And actually, oh wow, he's playing this position. I very rarely see teams playing this spot because it's so rare to see a circle go so far south. And Loxy is up there with the Mini 14 that's been just so strong on day one, and might be able to get some nice, easy picks with that weapon.
You're right, it's an extremely rare spot to be taking, but it does work out. It makes sense here, given the circle. He is being hit, actually, from Nigma Galaxy. If there was a team to the east, a lot less protected this spot, so you'd be scared. But so it's a fact of have some of the players down on the ground, just look and pay attention a bit more to the east than you looking north and west.
Yeah, we've seen a clash of Gladiators versus Mad Bulls over to the west, it seems. Gladiators did try and gatekeep that cliff, and they were able to do so pretty successfully. No teams were really of an issue, so no one's going to deny their rotate. But Mad Bulls lose one. That's going to be their first elimination of the game, and also Nexus are going to be taking their very own fight out in the blue, and Vision Esports are going to have the final laugh here.
Maybe, as Fireflux is also putting a little bit of pain on them as well from the distance. As we take a look at a replay once again. Exo looking great and was able to take out a few of the members of Gangsters, unfortunately for them. Where is Nexus now? Where are they? Okay, middle circle, actually.
Just full center, yeah. It worked out. I mean, the car rotate, no one is going to be able to get you too easily, but there you go, pops the wheel. Octavian, Dorian, you know they're going to go down very quickly. There's no way they survive that push, and that's the end for them. 15th place, and unfortunately not able to get that redemption we were hoping at the start of today.
Yeah, they're coming in a bit late, just kind of trying to send it wherever they can in the middle of these circles, and that's not going to work here. Not at all, especially with how all of these teams have already positioned themselves and kind of how open this circle is, to be honest. It's not fields. I'm not going to say it's like fields, but there's not that many trees and rocks to be able to hide in. Not even that many dips to hide in a circle like this, to be honest.
I mean, really, right now, except for dips and everything, you want to play for those compounds, which is the one of Excuse Me you mentioned, but they didn't regroup fast enough, which means they lost 2 players. If they hold that down as a 4-man team, I feel like they win it.
They're going to get crashed. There's no way they don't get crashed here as just 2. As Brute Force now going to be taking the fight and kind of mopping up the rest of gangsters, who, unfortunately for them, you can only wrap so wide, and then you end up in the water. And obviously they couldn't do that, so this wide wrap's not working. Yeah,
especially in a circle like this, you just want to try and speed up the process a little bit more. Good nade down onto Kevin's going to get a little bit extra damage done, and that's it. The blue zone play is not going to work out for them. And Brute Force, I mean, bringing a little bit of heat in this game. Currently up to, how many eliminations is that? He got himself 5 elims right now, so already off to a hot start on this second game.
And a few people swimming now as well in a circle like this, as we're still having vision kind of rolling around on this eastern side. They're taking fights, and I like that they're taking fights as aggressively as they are, or at least shooting at things as aggressively as they are, because there's going to be very few entry points to a circle like this. Solus is down, and the rest of Fireflux is going to be falling very quickly.
Lord.
I mean, they came up on a position which was always going to be very fortified by Enigma Galaxy as well as Regen over on the west side.
Yeah, I mean, actually, they're doing a decent job, but the main issue, right, is that we're looking at Loxy from that crane position. He's just taken mini 14 shot after mini 14 shot. This position is completely dead man's land. You do not want to play that spot. Enigma Galaxy trying to just salvage their position, trying to go for the res onto, I believe it was Freak or Lord. I'm not sure if it's going to quite work out, because Gladiators slowly but surely gaining space as we do see Madballs eliminated.
Yeah, they're trying to come up on the kind of cliff side. But again, for them, a crash into Excuse Me would be great. Excuse Me's objective right now, whilst we take a look at these fights, is make it feel like we're 4 players here. So switch your weapons, start shooting with 2 weapons as quickly as possible in certain directions towards Gladiators if you want. Just try and puff up your feathers and make sure you don't get crashed.
I'm actually not even sure who got the 2 knocks onto Excuse Me, because if that's a team that already got eliminated, that information is lost. Yeah. No one is going to be able to know this is a 2-man team defending that compound. So as you said, you want to make it look like you're a full squad, and Gladiators might rethink if they want to go for the breach, because it could also open up the floodgates. Maybe a third party from Brute Force, which, again, in this map, are out for blood, looking for as many eliminations as possible. But De Muerte are out in the blue here very soon, and seem like they're going to be kept out by GQ.
Yeah, it's a huge barrier to entry, and we'll be able to hit that. And he is gone as well. Just sacrifice for it and keep to play another day, I suppose. Fireflux has done a good job about recovering here, but I don't know how long it's going to last.
I'm surprised we've not seen more mini 14 shots coming out from... Oh, he went down from the crane, actually. He's just on the lower ground. Trying to, I guess, prepare rotation. They got a few cars ready to go on the move. Maybe even third party this spot. I mean, you know that you already wounded Enigma Galaxy. You wounded the side also of Fireflux. So you're seeing that these are not full squads. Maybe you can just breach it, control that spot. And if that's the case, you're in the most central position at that moment. So Regnum Karya has a lot of potential to pull off a massive second game.
A big shift as well. We still have the next Ryu compound kind of in play, but this forces out Excuse Me's compound. So if I was teams like Gladiators on that left-hand side, I wouldn't mind transitioning along these cliffs, using some of that high ground in the circle eventually. But of course, Enigma Galaxy's there, so you're going to have to take that fight.
You don't want to fight that position away from Excuse Me anymore. It's just not worth it. It's not really going to be having long-term value. The one team we actually haven't talked about them too much is Next Royale. They've just been chilling onto the east. A few, like 3-4 of their buildings of their compound is still in play, so they can just take shots. And you have nothing in this circle really, except like a few small dips. There's a few like slight slopes that you can actually play. So it's all about that terrain knowledge. But this circle doesn't happen often. Do teams know what's the best position here? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's not amazing. For those teams that are down there with Falcons, Fireflux as well, they might look to transition onto the beach eventually, but then it'll be up to Regnum Karya. We're seeing now Kitsune make the move. Okay, so they're going to use the compound as the checkpoint here, but technically they could have done this a little bit earlier. Now their hand has been forced, they feel, so they're going to push up against Excuse Me. They're going to be very happy, I think, realizing it's only 2.
I mean, they're not ready for a push right now. They're so split. Meku's south, super far south, and Tixie is north. Matic is going to, I guess, pick him up to go for the push. Kitsune's just breaching this solo. Where's the team? I'm not sure.
I am a little bit confused, but reinforcements are going to be on the way in the car. You can see them speeding past here. Havlika goes for a pre-nade to try and catch that, and actually does do some damage to them here. So now they're going to try and go around it. He's pre-firing the windows as well. Matic's moved up, goes for the molly, tries to get that in there, but doesn't quite clip them with damage. Oh, and it goes down to Beck.
What a great opening nade there. That's exactly what we need. Meku might want to try and get involved to help out the team. It's going to be tough, but GQ actually hearing this fight, slowly going to cross the road and trying to initiate possibly a third party on the west.
Again, this could have happened quicker for Gladiators, but it's not going to work out here. They have been held out by the 2-man and the reinforcing shots from GQ, but GQ is going to take that opportunity. They could take that spot if they wanted to, but they can still have transition points from where they are, so I don't know about Gladiators. I've got question marks around that one again.
Yeah, it seems like at the start of every tournament, they go back to like their old, slow playstyle and slowly try and speed things up throughout the days. But it just really hurts them to the point where, like in PMWI, they just get a third place. They could have been potentially first if they just started moving a bit faster, a little bit sooner in the event. Though, back on the teams onto the cliff side, Enigma Galaxy were able to then get the res onto Lord. That is massive, up to 3. But the teams still down below in the depth of that cliff are such a pain because you can't move. Otherwise, you're showing your back to RTG and Falcons pretty much.
And if you've got a lot of nades and mollies still left from like not using the underhand onto them, you kind of want them for some later stage scenarios. So you don't really want to expend them. Coops, though, from Enigma Galaxy was able to knock 6 down there, so he's still being able to find some cheeky angles down there. But again, look, you can see Regnum Carrier. They're just able to look at the entire spot, but he does not have many bullets left. How many did he have left?
Only 14 and 0 left outside of that. So, I mean, the thing is, Mini 14 is great at the end, and he had another weapon, wasn't quite able to see, but he's going to have a tough time. If he can hit that headshot on Coops, that would be massive. But yeah, he's almost out. He's just using his last few bullets. 3 more.
2, 1.
And
make it count.
Come on.
Oh,
headshot.
we should have stick with it.
Oh, okay, didn't quite see it. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so that's going to hurt them a bit unless he can loot an extra weapon inside of the pair. He's going to be a little bit weaker than other players at the end stage.
That nade could bounce in. Oh, no, it doesn't. And that could have bounced into the water, but anyway, regardless, Teak still gets away with his life. Coops is going to have to fall down here and swim in, but he will have reinforcing team above him, which is kind of the most important part, which he can still make work. Although RTG is still alive there.
And next row, taking some shots towards Regnum Carrier. Still actually have a building in play, which is insane at this stage because otherwise the rest is just flat terrain. You can't do much with it. At least you're going to have one player that could be safe if you want an off angle. Lord, you want to finish this fight onto Groza, gets one. Reva far in the back, but I don't think like it's going to be a major issue just yet. He's going to take some time to rotate.
Yeah, for Coops here, the threat is still Regnum Carrier. Nade's going to be trying to bombard the position here of Brute Force as they are kind of stuck in a little bit of a dip here. Will they be able to get dislodged is the question. Still, they're able to heal up. A few smokes are kind of clouding the vision here of GQ.
Yeah, very nadeable dip here held by Ado, so you could very easily make those connect. Though almost out of utility. 2 mollies and 1 grenade for Evo Station could be helpful maybe to dislodge teams around trees or rocks later on, like where Zakaria currently stands. That smoke is going to buy him a little bit of time, but GQ want to wrap this fight up. They want to control the north to facilitate that transition across the road. Yeah,
it's going to be important to having this position. So get rid of this as fast as possible. But at the other side of this, the M249 from Lutz was doing some work from Fireflux. Still alive he is, but the push is coming in. They will clean this up and take it away. He's hit another one. Coops is gone here from Lutz with that M249. So on that, I wondered maybe if they'd have forgotten about him down there, but he was able to do some work.
Able to ruin it a little bit for Enigma Galaxy.
Yeah.
Just Ralph is going to be left alive southwest. And he just wants to dodge this. He just wants to get the final laugh in this fight. Let Reva and Lutz take it and just pick up the final player that stays alive. That nade could be good. Oh, gets so much damage. One more and he's done. Reva, you need to push it or do something. Otherwise, you're going to get the double nade.
He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
Out of there. And now it's going to be up to Enigma Galaxy to clean this out because you can't have this playing underneath you at all.
Super smart from next row. Actually saw surely in the south an initial push from Regnum Carrier. Went down, cleared the entirety of the team. Now they're the only team southeast. They can just start to spread out. They have cars, so they can make a makeshift compound with those cars if needed. And they have a lot of resources. They can just absolutely send everything they have towards these remaining teams. And Lord, unfortunately, had no chance of coming out from that one alive.
Yeah, Z-Wolf was able to finish that off after Dokkan Machine has already done quite a bit of damage as well. Evo Station in the distance able to do a bit of damage. Again, the M249 stealing in a limb. Fireflux goes down eventually here to Nexruya, but I feel like, you know what, Lutz has done enough there. Now it's going to be up to Nexruya to start dominating the south side of this circle and trying to hold these teams at bay.
Yeah, one of the only teams that still have cars, so you can transition, just upset these teams as they're just going to be overwhelmed. Ralph, I mean, he wasn't going to do anything. And Nexruya currently with their best game yet, and Z-Wolf might not be playing the M24, but he's definitely popping off as they're trying to now just clear the remnants of the other teams.
I'm impressed that Excuse Me was able to survive to 3rd rank for this game. That is quite eye-opening to me, considering that, again, that should have been breached, that compound that they had, that bastion of hope. But now, GQ against Nexruya.
Yekta, nice little angle actually onto the east, trying to just... Right now, all you really have is a few slopes and trees. These off angles could be so pivotal if they try and hide behind one of those. So Frozen also going to regroup, but Yekta could be the one to really seal the fate of GQ in this 4v3.
Yeah, he could. The off angle's really strong. Ducker Machine also has not a bad angle there as well. I feel like GQ at this point is going to feel very pincered. Corker is trying to go for a little off angle, but the problem for him is he's kind of stuck near a road, which means his transitions are going to be very open if they even have a slight angle on him at all.
One thing you see happen a lot in these kind of circles with flat terrain is just full send it with a car, with a buggy, and just try and roll them over or get information, go back and just feed that info to the rest of your team. It could be a valid strat when you have, what is that, 2 or 3? They have three buggies.
They have 3 buggies.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a man advantage as well. You can spare one person, but this off angle of Corker is actually very strong for a moment whilst the circle's not closed just yet. And you can see, as you say, Yekta is trying to be the counter to that. Does see him instantaneously. He's going to have to heal up. This could be a potential move for next Ruya, considering he's now a little bit busy about healing up.
I mean, the main issue is Corker. There you go. The moment he gets knocked, Yekta can play the full length of that ridge. And I think AC knows that. He's just trying to get his own control of that ridge, because otherwise it is going to be GG, Corker down. And now the send on the buggy starts to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be lights out here for GQ. I don't know how they're able to recover from this. They had 4 buggies, by the way. They had 4 buggies. Nice shots coming in from Yekta once again to be able to put the nail in the coffin basically here for GQ. It's looking grim. He's just going to burn alive, and that is going to be it. Next Ruya, what a game from them. They played it patient from that compound onwards and were able to dominate the south side.
Yeah, the most chill chicken dinner from Next Ruya. They were just completely uncontested over to the east, and mainly taking that fight towards Rengnam Kara the moment they started to be a threat before it really became an issue was such a smart call.